Today marks a significant moment in our democratic journey. Pursuant to Article 88, Paragraph 1 of the Electoral Ordinance, the Central Voting Bureau has the authority to order a new count of ballots from all or specific polling stations, a power that we can exercise either autonomously or following a substantiated request from eligible voters. Your input is essential in preserving the integrity and fairness of our electoral process. We invite those of you with objections to present them, ensuring that each concern is duly considered. To maintain the integrity of the process, we require individuals filing objections to state their full name. This is necessary to verify with the Civil Registry that you are indeed an eligible voter, as only objections from eligible voters can be accepted and considered by the Central Voting Bureau. That being said, we've arranged for this podium that's set up right here, so at least the viewing public at home can hear your objections as opposed to just us in the room. So for those of you that would like to bring an objection forward, we'll ask that you come to the podium, that you put on the mic, and that you share your objection with us.
I have quite a few observations that were filed by those who were observing on behalf of the Party for Progress. General observations: a distinct lack of police presence outside polling stations. The only officer was the one inside controlling the line. This was observed at polling stations number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 14, and 15. It is our belief that this lack of police presence is what undoubtedly led to the unfortunate incident involving UP supporters and other party candidates and supporters being threatened by these perpetrators. Another general observation was a suspicious behavior by party supporters near specific polling stations, most notably Butte Hotel. The vote count, observations and some concerns. At Sundial, District 2, polling station 2, observers were only allowed in at 9:55 p.m., despite being told at 8 that they just needed to give the polling station workers a 15-minute break. There were no communication between them. At 9:55, the chairlady of the counters came outside, said due to a discrepancy with the amount of vote cards received, they had this long delay so that we now can come inside. At 10 p.m., the bin was emptied in front of the observers in the middle of the room. All ballots were then sorted out per party by the 5 individual counters. All invalid ballots put aside, valid ballots have not been checked again specifically, meaning once a counter had found a ballot valid, he or she put it on the pile of the specific party. At 10:45, the counting of total votes per party started. The counters just gave the total per party. They did not count with the observers. So every counter chose one party to count by themselves and then just communicated the total of that party. At 11:20, the observer in question asked if they can count in front of or with the observers ballot by ballot so that they knew for sure that the count was going well. They only did this with the ballots from the PFP. One counter sorted out all the ballots from this party and then counted them one by one in front of the observers, not showing the ballot for validity, but the ballot was held up in the air one by one.
On behalf of the United People's Party, we have concerns with Melford Hazel, District 15, Belvedere, polling station number 14, Dutch Quarter Community Center, number 5, Middle Region, number 4, MPC, Milton Peters College, number 6, Butte Hotel, number 9, NEPA, number 10, and Sundial, number 2. I would like to extend a gratitude for everyone that came out and all the voters that participated. Now, while there were different discrepancies heard and complaints made throughout the United People's Party of lack of transparency, not being able to see invalid votes, and they were also told that certain votes that would be considered invalid were now considered valid as long as there's a clear indication of who the voter was voting for. While I agree with this method, it is important to assure that not some districts were taking this into consideration and some were not. We have seen in the last election where a particular candidate, after recount, received 22 extra votes. So, in a nutshell, while I request these polling stations On behalf of myself and the United People's Party, we would like to see a recount on all polling stations. Thank you.
We have had a lot of complaints from many of our observers, so therefore we believe and we support the fact that all the voting stations, every one of them, that we should have a recount. There's been cases where people have indicated that they have received voting cards for 3 different voting stations. We've had cases where, for example, some of our observers, when looking at, in the beginning, were not able to be present when they were opening the bin. So I think with that said, I believe that it would be in everybody's interest to have a total vote count of all the voting stations.
But just in case, I know for sure the checkers at the Leonard Connor School noted that the totals for the National Alliance was 126 when they left, and they're seeing 121 in the online on government's website. Specifically, the candidate number 8 was noted as having 3 votes, while when the count took place, it was 8. So that is exactly the 5 votes that seem to be missing there. So specifically to that, similar stories of not being able to see the actual voting ballots, to be able to see specifically that they were for the parties that they were mentioned, and or for the candidate that was mentioned, was also one of the concerns of observers. So in the interest of that, just as one of my colleagues mentioned before, if at some polling stations there's not clarity as to what is a valid or invalid vote, I also agree that there should be a total recount done to ensure that the will of the people is truly reflected for each individual as for each party, because it is our aim to have a fully open, fair, and transparent election.
I agree with all the people that objected. My campaign team, one of them was registered at the prison, and they casted a few votes, and according to the count, I didn't receive no votes up there. So I think that's polling station 19. I do agree with that objection. I also agree with the complications it was for voters to reach to the polling station. I visited all of them with the loud music, everybody blocking the way. It was real discouraging, for even intimidating for certain people to cast their vote that day because of the crowd, the loud music. It looked more like a party than an election. So, you know, I agree with MP Gums on that fact, and that was at basically all the major polling stations, from MPC, from Rupert Maynard, from Belvedere to DQ, to Sucker Garden. Like me myself had problems going in to a polling station, the one in Sucker Garden, because it was so condensed, you know. So I agree with the objections, and I think that we should have a total recount. And I also think that in the future we should practice, you know, better behavior where that's concerned. Because for me, it's not really about the parties being there. It's about the voters coming in and feeling comfortable when they're about to cast their vote, not feeling pressured or bribed into who they should vote for, because that's what went on. Even me, myself, you know, there was some campaigners in front of certain voting station, not knowing that me, myself, is a candidate.
That being said, I would like to thank all of you for sharing your concerns and your objections. I want to assure you that the Central Voting Bureau takes your concerns very, very seriously, and we recognize our responsibility to address any issue that might compromise the credibility and integrity of our electoral process. So with that said, we will adjourn this meeting for 10 minutes. I don't think we need much more than that. So we will adjourn to deliberate over our own findings previously to this, as well as all objections, and we'll come back in 10 minutes to share our final decision on the requests.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Because of these teams, we were able to accomplish what we have done so far. It took longer than we expected. But let me explain very shortly. This is a single runway, single terminal airport. Everything happens under one roof. And while that was going on, we also had to fix this airport. There's no second terminal. There's no second building. Everything has to be done right here. It makes things more complicated. And just for perspective, our airport is relatively small, but still handles over 50,000 airlines a year. A lot of airports can, they don't have those numbers. In size, we're an airport between 1.5 and 2 million passengers a year. Just to compare, Aruba does 2.5 and 3 million a year. Puerto Rico, right down the road, or down a little far, is 10 million. So we're small, but we're not tiny. We needed these volumes to pay the bills. And after the hurricane, to keep our economy going, the market travel to St. Martin was recovering. Even after our second crisis of COVID, we were one of the first airports open in the region. I also want to thank everyone for this. The ministries, the employees, all our stakeholders that have contributed for this. And all of this while the airport was still broken. So just put that in perspective. I can tell you, this was a ride. This was a puzzle, and it was not easy. It was quite complicated. But today, we have accomplished some great things. The airport is able to stand on its own feet, and it started to look pretty, very pretty. We have launched our departure hall upstairs. We're going to go there just now, that you see with your own eyes. We've done that since November. And the pressure was on because the expected high season was right in front of us. So that happened in November. We had to do that before the Christmas rush. In this hall where we are tonight is our check-in area. It will replace the other area that we have presently with a state-of-the-art self-check-in, as mentioned before, and self-drop. And this will launch a few weeks from now. We'll choose our national carrier Winair as the first test bird. And we'll be early in the morning all here making sure that this goes. That's why you see it's the first one on my right. I already spoke to the CEO tonight, and we say we're going to work out the details soon. So this area will go live in a few weeks. And in the final phase, which is the arrival hall, that is our final undertaking. This will be completed this year before the summer. So we have to get this done before the upcoming season. St. Martin will then be in her best form. The airport will be in its best form, and St. Martin will again be on top. We have rebuilt one of the most advanced, prestigious, and beautiful airports. This was not done for us, nor was it done for you. It was done for the future of St. Martin. It is important, and I'm very open about this, that we must keep an eye on our new airport. Even though our Princess is prettier, stronger, and withstand a heavier punch, Her existence is of such importance that it becomes our obligation to keep her in the hands of good people. Our airport is far too important. In closing, we want to thank you for allowing us to be part of this. We are not there yet. We have some more work to do, but the finish line is right in front of us. For now, and on behalf of management, I want to thank you for this great work done and your support. Have a great evening, and may God bless us. Thank you.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances.
It's time for a new brand that is as bold, vibrant, and colorful as the island of St. Martin, with colors drawn from our diversity, cultural heritage, and nature. Our breathtaking beaches, waters, and sun, the majestic brown pelican, our national symbol, the radiant yellow sage, our national flower, the historic border monument signifying the Dutch and French side, our exciting cruise, yachting, and boating ports, renowned Maho Beach and St. Martin Airport, the hub to the Caribbean. All these parts come together to create the shape of the island of St. Martin. More than a logo. It's a new brand that engages, excites, and will inspire travelers to book. It's time to tell the St. Martin story, to reintroduce travelers to St. Martin, to honor our past, to embrace our present, and shape our future. Our culture and diversity, Dutch and French sides, unrivaled cuisine, twice the nightlife, entertainment, and shopping, cruises, boating, and yachting, twice the adventure, exploration, and relaxation, splendid and scenic accommodations, Pinel, Tentamar, and island hopping in the Caribbean. Whatever your taste, St. Martin has more. Experience twice the Caribbean. St. Martin.
First this evening, news and politics. With the deadline approaching for local government elections to be held, it appears more Jamaicans are becoming disinterested in the voting process.
But for those who intend to vote, who will they vote for, the JLP or the PNP?
Andrea Chisholm has the answer.
The last local government election was held in 2016. After multiple postponements, anticipation is building and some are counting down to 2024. The election has to be called by February. This was Prime Minister Andrew Holness at the JLP's annual conference in November.
Next year, at a date to be announced, at a time of my choosing, we will be going back to the people on the local government elections. We have no fear in facing the people of Jamaica. We know that there is a generation of Jamaicans who were not born in the 1970s. And they have no clue as to how the other party destroyed Jamaica.
Days later, a rebuttal from opposition leader Mark Golding at a party meeting in East Central St. James.
Why do you think they never call local government election on Sunday at them conference? Because them can't cross it. Them know so the people are in them again. Because the people tired of the lies and the deception and the corruption. The people want a new wind of change. It's not a Roman boom mission we're on. It's not a dig out and make a mission with the pan. It's a mission to rescue the country for ourselves and our children and generations to come.
So if an election is called, who would people vote for? Pollster Don Anderson put the issue to 1,015 registered voters island-wide. 23% of respondents said they would vote for the JLP and 22% for the PNP. 18% are undecided. Interestingly, 37% said they will not be voting for either parties. Now, in Primetime News Sunday, we told you that 40% of respondents said they would not vote in the upcoming local government elections. Mr. Anderson also asked respondents what could get people to vote. 21% said nothing, 16% said jobs, and 10% said if they personally benefit. Others wanted infrastructure such as road, light and water to be fixed and for political representatives to be more visible in the constituency. Transparency and accountability, as well as the mandate of the parties, are also triggers to get people out to vote. The Don Anderson poll was done between November 24 and December 7 and has a margin of error of ±3%. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.